Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mike. It is Sunday, the 7th of September. This is my week ahead video. Guys, I don't have time for charts today. It's NFL kickoff week, and I got a bunch of cooking to do, people coming over, uh, having a good time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my video out there for free. I'm going to take a little longer to do it. It's going to be a longer one, and hopefully get some good information out of this, and we can go from there. If you want to join us, I'm not going to sell it. Link in the description, smartoptiontrading.com. We'd love to have you in our trading room. All right. So let's talk about what's going on this week from an economics perspective, courtesy of the trade exchange, by the way. They're great. On Monday, we got nothing. Tuesday, we're quiet. Wednesday, PPI final. Now, remember, PPI was last month what set this off, right? PPI came in much hotter than expected. So we're going to be watching to see if that continues or levels off. Then on Thursday, we have CPI. Remember, CPI came in first and it was cool. So does that PPI transition over to CPI now from the producer side to the consumer side? All right, something to keep an eye on there. Um, or both, right? If you're looking for the market for potential problems, the market after the jobs numbers, the Fed is widely expected to cut a half point in a week and a half when they get together, a quarter point. A lot of people are thinking maybe a half point. A very hot inflation number here would really put this into one hell of a uh, confrontational meeting, I would think, between the Hawks and the Doves in that meeting. We have Treasury statement at 2 o'clock on Thursday, and on Friday we have Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. All right, what else do we have? We have earnings this week, and it's really not much going on here. Oracle on Tuesday night with GameStop and Rubik. We get our first report out of them. I think that's their first one. Chewy is very interesting to me, and Duke obviously on Wednesday morning. Sorry, had a sneeze, and then Adobe, another look at a software name on Thursday night. All right. So that's all we have going on there. Let's dive into it. The ES, we had a very wide range candle on Thursday. We put in a new all-time high, came down, hit the 21 day and bounced off of it and closed above the 8 day. So, overall interesting candle volume was elevated. We're going to always start here. I'm going to go with the NQ next. NQ, similar type candle, held the 21 day. Crude remains weak. OPEC Plus is meeting, I believe, today, and they're expected to increase output. No reason to really want to be crude if they're going to do that. Bonds raged. Big 3 day move in bonds here in the market, expecting rate cuts and a lot of them coming at us. That's why you see bonds pushing up, right? Bonds pushing up, yields coming down. Gold, new all-time highs, remains very strong. That's where they're hiding. Bitcoin still not looking all that great. Rejected at the 21 day. The VIX, for what it's worth, the VIX not saying there's anything to read into Friday's action. The VIX could have spiked big. It tried to. It didn't even get up all that much, and it came right back down and closed red on the day. So the VIX saying nothing to see here so far. HYG finally caught back up, but got pushed back down. The transports remain out of play, and the dollar overall remains very, very weak here. Not a lot going on there either. All right. So when we look at market sentiment as we come into this week, you're going to scratch your head a bit. If you're a bear, you're going to really scratch your head. Oscillators on the Nasdaq, we actually improved from negative side of neutral to plus side of neutral, plus 12, right? Given that action on Friday. The New York Stock Exchange now plus 50, positive side of neutral, also strengthening. Advanced decline lines, either flat or even trying to curl up a little bit, right? This is not the type of action you would expect of a market that will showing signs of falling apart. Highs versus lows on the S&P 500 plus 165 versus 12. Look at these numbers. These are not the numbers you would expect. On the Nasdaq, even better, stronger now. 309 versus negative 122. Very strong numbers here on the indexes. Put to call, pulled up. Everybody ran for calls, right? And overall market breadth, market breadth, which should have come down, turned up on the Nasdaq, which has been putrid. And look at this on the New York Stock Exchange, a new all-time high. So, the market's saying, whatever Friday's action was, the market underneath is saying it's not really as bad as it appeared. And, we gapped up, we sold off, and then we came back up. We did engulf the previous day's candle, but we closed well off the lows back above the 8 day. So if you're looking at this candle and looking what's going on, we're in a channel. You have a channel here and a channel up top, and we can just kind of grind our way back to the top part of this channel if the market wants to go. And that's all the way up here around the 657 area. Hey, to the downside, until you close under the 21 day, this is a strong market. The only time we've closed under the 21 days since late April is this candle right here on August 1st. And you get the idea. These 3% candle pullback number, this is no longer valid. The 5% is no longer valid because after this couple of days, we already put in a new all-time high. What we talked about right now is that this market, it's having a hard time moving up. Now, somebody said we're in a consolidation phase. No, we're going up. We're definitely in an upwards channel. We're making a series of higher lows and higher highs. But it's having a hard time getting buyers to come in. So what it does is it dips down, gets some buyers to come in, gaps up, traps shorts, they cover, and they squeeze them back up. All right, so we'll see. So let's start off with the financials here. The financials, this is a worrisome candidate. If you're looking for a problem in the market, this to me is the one warning sign I have. The financials engulf 8 days of action and a vicious down candle and close under the 21 day. JP Morgan, similar leader, right? All-time highs down. Goldman, not quite as bad, but again, leader, all-time highs and big down. Same thing, Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, Bank of America. You get it. These guys all came in. The regional banks also came to the 8 day and held. A firm which had a good report did nothing all week long, holding the 8 day so far, but not doing much. Names like PayPal and X Block continue to be hammered here, and just not much good going on either one of those here. All right, energy, not the place I want to be. Coming in, if they're gonna increase output, oil's gonna come down. All these names rejected. Chevron got up to that gap, got rejected up there. ExxonMobil was the leader, rejected. Again, not the place I want to be. Maybe keep an eye on names like SMR, OKLO, that they want to go back to that nuclear trade, but none of them look particularly strong here at the moment. Biotech, XBI, big week. It looks like they were hiding here. Nice big move up here on biotech on the XBI. Let's open up our chart a bit here. Okay, you can see it coming up and out of this, trying to break above this key level here, and you can move yourselves up here to the 97 area, be your next spot. Participation was limited. Lilly still being rejected at the 50-day. Needs to clear that. Okay, keep an eye on that. J&J has been the clear leader, not far off the highs. Merck had a nice little rebound here this week, but most of these names are beaten up. Same thing with Pfizer, right? These names have been beaten up pretty good. BMY. So, it was very hit or miss what they were going for. Let's talk China names. Baidu, beautiful candle on Friday, nice big push up and go. And that puts Baidu not at a 52-week high, but improving off the lows, a lot of gaps. So I don't particularly trade Baidu very much anymore because it just doesn't seem to have the volume. And I also find these names to be very difficult because they gap all over the place. But 104 would be your next move there. Baba off of that report and the AI chips, watching this one to get back to this gap here at 139. Nice little gap fill up to 142 plus there for a trade this week. Keeping an eye on that. Panduo, another one to keep an eye on, pushing up, needs to really clear up here to this 133 level. All right, so we have some stuff going on there. I haven't talked about them, but the casinos have been on fire. They're all 52 weeks highs. They're just drifting off of it. I haven't touched them. DraftKings, with NFL starting again, pushed up a little bit, but it's not holding. All right, what else should we go to? Let's look at crypto. We did Bitcoin coin. Friday tried to push again, hit the 21 day and came down, and this seems to be the MO. The 21 day is trapping at this point, but it's holding in. It's been since that earnings report, it's been a long sideways consolidation. MSTR got hit hard this week, trying to come back a bit. Same thing with BMNR, as Nasdaq is going to take steps to taking action against these type of customers with their Bitcoin or crypto purchases to make sure there's more accountability there. We'll see what that actually going to mean. Hood, worth noting, Hood Friday had an all over the place candle. First time nobody really talked about it. Guess what? Into the S&P 500 after the hours. There it is, push up to 110. So we'll see what it wants to do. All-time high is 117.70. It means people are going to have to buy it. I think a lot of people have front run this move. We'll see what this one looks like on next week. We'll keep an eye on it. App Loving also getting into the S&P 500. Okay, so another one here. This one has been recovering nicely. It's trading into the 537 area. And for App Loving, that is a new all-time high. So again, we'll see how that opens. Anybody held calls on that overnight, congratulations, you're getting rewarded here. Look at some Dow components, names like Boeing. Nothing going on. It's stuck, holding the 50-day, but just can't break loose. Cat just off that all-time high, still holding the 50-day, holding it well. Walmart, we'll look at that one here. Nice little move up. I traded that last week. Didn't finish that gap. I like it above Friday's high for finish up into that 102.80 area where there's another gap sitting there. Costco remains overall weaker, but trying to recover for the 200 day. That would be a big spot. Lulu got absolutely punished on earnings. This is a 5+ year low. I don't know what to say anymore. I guess yoga pants are out for now. We'll see. Names like Honeywell, nothing going on. There was some movements in safety names last week, but didn't hold. Names like Coke and Pepsi, they all came back down. They didn't hold these pops. What else? Airlines holding strong and remain very strong. If the economy's slowing, the airlines certainly aren't showing it yet. All right, and the defense sector remains overall weak, although Lockheed Martin did take all that weakness back on that one. What else, guys? Let's talk out there. Let's talk some media names. Let's go look around. Names like AT&T, new 52 week was high. This thing remains strong. Big dividend play. Netflix woke up on Thursday. Friday gave a little back, but looks like it's trying to perk up. Earnings are about a month away on that one. So we'll keep an eye on that one starting to wake up. I really wish they would do a stock split. Meta also trying to hold in here. And the thing going on with Meta here to pay attention to is it really needs to get back above 760 now. You have this nice move gap up. It held it the last 2 days, but intraday it traded like crap the last 2 days. So as long as you hold this gap area right here, Meta should be in position to try to make another run. So we'll keep an eye on that as long as it holds that 745.15 area, gets above 760, the next one can move. Not looking so bad. Names like Roku have been very strong, had a down candle the other day. Disney's just been out of play. What else? Let's go over and what else should we look at? How about we go into some names like Rocket Lab here, just kind of just chilling out, not a lot going on there. Uh, ONDS also holding well. That one's holding well, looks a little bit better. BKSY, Black Sky, I'm back in this one a little smaller here at this point off this 16 area. Looks like it still wants to hold in. These names like Open that are part of the next, the whole low interest rate trade. Open put in a new highs there at 685. SoFi continues to hold strong. It needs to really break above 26. Rocket also nice little move there. This thing continues to power up. Let's look at some semis. What do you think? Oh, how about some food stocks first? Because they really, to me, these have not been the place to be. McDonald's overall, one of the better ones. Still nothing really going on here. Rejected, not much movement. Starbucks has been out of play and weak. Kava got beat, destroyed on earnings, can't catch the 8 day. CMG had an upgrade last week, couldn't do anything with it, remains weak. And overall, the food sector remains out of play. Retail and food just really not the place to be. The SMHs, however, nice little move up here. Couldn't quite hold it, gave the gap back, but bounced off of it. You have another gap sitting there at 295.77, and we'll be watching that this week. NVIDIA's been getting beaten up. Again, we talked about NVIDIA's report at nauseum. It was a fine report. It was good guidance. It wasn't enough up at these levels. How far does it want to come down? I don't know. My next area I'd be watching here would be down this 158 area, and then I would be really looking down here towards the 100 day, the 150 area. Will it come down that far? I don't know. But right now it's out of play, and I do think any kind of meaningful dip in this name is good. Why did it get beat up on Friday? Well, you have all this talk back and forth, and then you had Abgo with an absolute blowout report. Beautiful move to new all-time highs on Abgo. We'll see how this holds. Keep an eye on this for trading next week. Probably needs a couple of days inside here, maybe drifts lower. What's going on is if you read between the lines that Avgo is taking over some of that inference space and taking some market share from that from NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA owns the training space, right? There's two different AI, and there's two different types of chips, right? One is the training, the model training, which NVIDIA basically just owns that outright. But inference is the next big battle, and you're seeing names like Avgo and AMD come into that space, and this is where they're all looking to take them on. Concerning to me, though, is again on the semis, is outside of a couple companies, earnings weren't great there in general. Speaking of AMD, they're also giving up the ghost, right? From 186 all the way back down to 150 here. You have a gap at 149. Maybe we come down, we fill that down here to the 146 level. And then we see if we go lower, there's a little more gaps. Maybe we come down and we find support down around this 135. Boy, I would love to own some down there again. As for the rest of the sector, Intel just going sideways here. Marvel beat up off of earnings. Qualcomm has been holding well, but not doing much. Just not a lot going on. So let's switch to tech and we'll start off with Apple. Apple this week, their phone event is on Tuesday, 1 p.m. I believe on that one. And that is, that's their big event. Now, they typically run into it and then pull off. You can see it's pushed up here. Just to be clear with everybody, and for the sake of being transparent, my members all know this, but I sold all my Apple shares on Friday morning or Thursday morning. Sorry, Thursday morning. So I'm no longer in calls. I'm no longer in stock. I've taken off. Why? Because this push up was not anything to do really for Apple. It just means business as usual for them with that Google ruling. If it pops, you do have a gap sitting up here at 245 area, and we can bring that all the way up into the 250 area. We'll keep an eye on that. I wouldn't be surprised if Apple reverses course and comes back and fills this gap here down below in the next week or so after the event. Again, new phone events, not a lot of excitement around them. All right, what else we have going on there? Let's start off with Google. Google hit another new all-time high, this huge gap and go. Their lawsuit, the Department of Justice basically got very little out of it. They won that, so nice move on Google. This will be a go-to name right now. I'd like to see a couple days consolidation on it. Amazon also trying to break to the upside. Couldn't quite get out on Friday, but still seeing a couple calls on this, still sitting in stock on this above 236.53. It can push for that all-time high at 242. If the market holds, I'd like that to try to go get it. Microsoft, that was an ugly candle. It broke completely down here. It's a great report. They just don't want it right now. For me, we'll start watching this 490 area to see if it holds, and then we'll start coming down here to 480. Amazon, Google, Meta. Who didn't we do, guys? Palantir, we didn't talk about. Palantir also beat up on Friday. The 21 days been resistance. There's nothing wrong with this. It's in a consolidation phase after this huge move. We'll see what it wants to do overall. Acting okay, not much going on. So for me this week, guys, the real question is going to be, what do we do on Monday and Tuesday ahead of that number on Wednesday morning? PPI, does it come in line? Or does it come in cooler or does it come in hotter? It's going to be an elevated number. The question is, does it come in better than expected? Um, and what I mean by that is when you look at it, economic counter, there we go. PPI is expected to be 0.3%. Last time it came at 0.9. So do we come in at 0.3 or do we come in higher again? If we get another hot number, that could signify some problems in the market here. And then CPI is 0.3% also on Thursday. Those are the two big numbers to watch, and the market will be looking at those closely. Fed's in the blackout period, no Fed speak. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry, no charts this week. We'll get back to them again next week. Everybody have a fabulous weekend and enjoy NFL kickoff football, baby. Catch you guys tomorrow morning in the room.